So hello and welcome to another XCL race at Brands Hatch. This is a race I took part in earlier yesterday, so I've done a little bit of practice, feeling pretty confident in the Honda. I spent a little bit of time also in the BMW, the Ferrari and the Audi running a few laps after I'd spent time in the Honda. And I don't know whether it's just the driving style that the Honda has, but I really do feel very comfortable in the Honda at a number of circuits. Whether that's going to be my new car of choice. So a lot to look forward to in tonight's race. I'm not sure how many people are going to be taking part in tonight's event, but fingers crossed there's a good selection of drivers all through the grid, so that we're all having our little battles here and there. Definitely important to get into P1. I think qualifying is going to be pretty important. Obviously you've got the long turn out of turn 1, but I think you could carry quite a bit of speed on the outside of turn 1 if you're in P2, but as you get down to the hairpin at turn 2, I think it's really is going to be important to be in the lead at that point. So as I did last time, I'm just going to do my own thing, try not to do too much commentary through the race, and I'll probably edit over with my own personal commentary, talking about stuff in the race and other things as usual. But I'll just do the qualifying session and the race itself to try and thin things down. I'll not really come on board for any of the first practice sessions, so we've got maybe 10 minutes to go before the race actually starts. But yeah, looking forward to tonight's race. Whether I take part in Friday night's late race or probably definitely do Sunday afternoons, Zolder, probably again in the Honda. Just really enjoying the Honda at the moment. But yeah, let's get the race underway and join me for the commentary. Ciao for now. So just looking over the timetable then. 1:24.7. 2 drivers, 3 drivers not actually set a lap. I'm not the only Honda, so 1:25.9 in the other Honda. I'm not sure if anyone's put a good lap in yet. Slightly disappointed with just 13 drivers in the lobby tonight, but fingers crossed we still get a good race. So just looking over the setup then, slightly different toe on the right side of the car just to try and keep that tyre a little bit hotter. It's probably the coldest tyre on the car really. Fuel strategy, we're going to bring that right the way down. I'm just going to run 10 litres of fuel for qualifying. I'll just go over the rest of the setup for you, and there you go. Obviously we're just trying to get a gap in the traffic. Couple of cars heading out there, and it is a short lap as well, so probably going to be quite a bunched up field. Try and find a little gap, I think, just as these cars come round the sort of tight left-hander, maybe about now. See where we are on the grid. Not too far from the pit exit. So away we go. Fairly good gap as well there. Just getting the tyres nice and warm then. Probably one of the worst corners. Everyone's scared of that fast right-hander. Just trying to get the tyres nice and warm. And see they're nowhere near temperature-wise, pressure-wise at the minute. Definitely going to need a faster lap. A couple of laps maybe. Tyres still cold. We already lost bollards. Might need a little bit more PSI in here. Blue flag's been waved, don't know what for.
Well done, mate. The fastest lap so far.
I get one more flying lap here. Tyre temperature's a little bit better.
Yellow flag in sector 1. Well done, mate. Personal best. Your lap time is invalidated.
So it took a while to get temperature in them tyres. Might just add a PSI all around. Obviously running a little bit less camber at the rear than usual. I'd probably like to run more camber at the front if I could. Temperature wise, 70 degrees at the right hand side of the car. Put my fuel in for the race. I'm just going to go, I think I'm just going to go 62, 63. It's quite a low lap. I'll probably end up with like 7 or 8 laps worth of extra fuel in, I think. But yeah, pretty happy with the way the car's set up, I think. I'd like to be in the 123s at some point during the race if I can. Obviously we're not going on to any tyres, we're going to put 1 litre of fuel in. Not really swapping tyres, but just in case. I'll just try and relax I think now. I don't think it's long enough to get the tyres into the tyre window really, with the track being so cool. Needed about 4 laps I think to get the tyres into temperature. So he's pretty quick in the Mercedes sectors 1 and 3, but losing a lot of time in that middle sector, so he's certainly capable of setting a good lap. So not all over just yet. The Bentley as well looking really good, 245. Good middle sectors. So if you can get sector 1 and sector 3 hooked up a little bit better, definitely good look, good chance. And anything could go wrong here. It's such a short lap, and there's so many corners where you really are pushing hard to get into the 123s. It'll be interesting to see where this race actually goes, whether I can hang on to P1 and just run my race from the front, come in and do my pit stop, maybe take as long as I can before I do my pit stop. I was just looking at this view the other day. It is quite a nice view. Just press F2 I think to cycle through the views still on the keyboard. There's only McVitie, Boa Basso. Don't remember any other drivers. Cortado maybe. I think a lot of people prefer to go for the other race later on this evening, but this race really does work well for me, 7 till 8. Certainly looks like he's on it. Maybe this could be the lap. Certainly looks well hooked up. He's obviously carried the lap all the way, so he's must be feeling like it's got a good chance. Oh, he's very close. Good lap. So just not under the 123s, but very close. It's going to be tough. Unlucky, mate. Yeah, it should be a pretty tough race. close qualifying. Close, couple of 4 drivers there, all pretty close. And then a batch, and then I guess a new guy at the back. Sado. 792, just finishing his lap. I'm not sure he's got time to put this lap in or not. Not sure if that pushed him up a little bit. I'll just change my camera view back. I turn back to the garage. So quickly going back over my setup then, just double checking everything. Like I said, I've just upped everything. I will go into my tyre setup as soon as I have upped each one of the tyres. I did bring that brake balance up a tiny bit. But yeah, running a lot of rear wing, obviously trying not to get the car sideways too much, but wanting all that rotation, so ride height and rake of the car is pretty steep. So see how far back the brake balance goes on the Honda. See if we can get that tyre warming. And really, it's going to be a pretty tough battle, I think. I've never raced Tuech, Germany. I don't know how you pronounce that. But the McLaren in P2. A couple of grey drivers, so fairly on their way to getting better, I think. And I think initially it's like a red section over the driver, and then it turns to grey and then to white. All fairly good connections as well, so I don't think the ping's going to be too bad. All with one stop available. So quickly move into the setup menu, obviously to try and get the tyre temperatures as we are when we hit the grid. Slightly slower. Obviously track is now optimum, but track temperature is lower slightly, and we've got a little bit of wind. So let's get this party started. Got 1 litre of fuel going in. No tyres. 55, so I'm going to drop this as low as I can. 44. Try and heat up those tyres.
Go in single file.
Let's go. Obviously the front right tyre is nearly at temperature, so this is going to be a bit weird. So hello and welcome, joining you live for this race. Doing the commentary, it's Jay, myself. Just coming on board then with Jay starting up this lap. Try and pick up where he struggles to focus during the race, and try and have a look at what else is happening throughout this race. There's a heck of a lot of concentration required throughout the entire race. Back rear's getting a bit hotter. Definitely a lot to focus on, rather than looking at what's going on with the track positioning, what could be happening around throughout the race. So brake disc getting very hot now. Still no temperature in that front left tyre. Again, also with the rear left tyre as well. This is a very tough situation to be in, I think, with low Be nice if we could actually get those into 27. Low air track temperatures. Just trying to find that balance when you've got such a drastic, not too worried about the PSI, drastic change in the PSI, getting too high from one tyre to another, especially that front right tyre, the coldest tyre on the circuit. I'm sure everyone else is struggling with the same kind of tyre temperatures. Just want to see them higher than 27 really. See the other cars in the rear view mirror just weaving back and forward across the circuit. But getting them too high will have the detrimental effect as well on grip. They're all trying to warm up that outer carcass. Start bringing that brake balance back to 55. The start then going to be very important to try and maintain the lead. Try and get into turn 2. Druids. A very tough start to the race, but being in a good position in P1, definitely on the cleaner side of the circuit. See the tyres go cold really quickly, so gearing up for this race then. Brake balance is set. Just quickly looking over pit strategy. So here we go then. So I'm trying to get right ahead of this. Edging towards the line, and away they go. Oh, what a start from the other 3 drivers. Really bogged down on the start there. Kaiser getting sideways. The other 2 guys, the BMW, the McLaren dropping back a number of places. Find himself on the outside of the circuit. Oh, I don't know how I got past that. Must have had loads of loss of grip on the outside. An unbelievable start then for Jay. That could have gone very wrong. Dropping down to P4 throughout turn 1 and then managing to bring it all back into P1 as they approach Druids, and away they go down the back straight. See how mighty this Bentley is. Down through the dip, the Bentley really getting close to the rear end, carrying a lot of speed through there, and you can run so much of that inside curve you can almost have the car off the circuit. Probably one of the trickiest corners on the circuit, always fearing touching that grass. Running a lot of curve once again, very early through there. And a long way to go in this race. Bentley very much in the rear view mirror. So just flicking between TC8 and TC7. Front right tyre still very much a cold tyre. Just try and settle into a rhythm. Always so much time gained through the slow corners. See Jay just pulling away from the Bentley there. I think more so in the slower corners, just running wide as you can see him in the rear view mirror. So always important to carry as much speed through that corner as possible out onto this back straight. However much dropped quite a way back you can carry through that corner, just carried out all onto this straight. So braking nice and early, get the car turned in and use as much of that inside curve and the outside curve as you can. Always good to watch these races back. So much you can pick up that you don't actually notice during the race itself. It's been a real insight for me to come back on board and watch these laps. Just everything else that you can focus on that you really don't have the time to focus on during the race.
Fastest lap of the race, man. Good job.
Especially looking at what other people are doing around you as well. Slow down. Noticing just how much you probably could have adjusted your strategy. Quite why we didn't notice just how cold that tyre is. I know we only get a very short period of time to do during free practice, but I do tend to spend quite a bit of time testing.
Tyre pressures look pretty
Prior
good.
to the race, maybe worthwhile just doing a low track temperature run just to see how hard it is to keep that temperature in the tyres. Noticing as well that the track time as well is fairly late on in the evening, so we're only going to get colder. I think it moves along at 2 times time progression. So probably finishing around 8 o'clock. Certainly things to take into consideration when you're looking at keeping the longevity of the tyre.
Ooh, very out of shape. Even the front right tyre says it's cold.
CJ getting very out of shape, almost losing the rear of the car, definitely a heart in the mouth moment. Again through turn 1, very much off camber. So you're taking a very tight line through that corner, but not wanting to touch too much of the curve. Again here, not wanting to pick up too much of that inside curve, it really does unsettle the car. But definitely touching the curve isn't an issue. Again, just allowing the car to run wide, as much momentum through that corner as you can carry.
Didn't like that last corner, very out of shape.
So you can sometimes cut that corner, just I guess approaching it at a slightly different angle if you feel like you're going to be a little bit too early into the corner. It's definitely best to open up the steering a little bit and run at a different angle. If you clip the corner too early, or if you clip it too late,
Try and keep more in a straight line under
that's the
braking
big
there,
issue.
I think.
You take a real sort of high line down into turn 1, sort of very late apex. Very interested to see how much fuel is still in the car as we cross the line, something I didn't notice at the end of the race. But it's such a low fuel demanding circuit, obviously because of its short nature. Whether they could actually turn,
I think I'll have to leave looking at what's happening in the pit lane to Jay in the
I'll certainly try
commentary.
and do my best, Jay. But yeah, I'm just wondering whether some of these other circuits, Watkins Glen as well as here at Brands Hatch, you just don't get a minute
Turn
to
them
think
into
the shorter versions of the circuit as well. Maybe for the GT4 sprint races or something. You can see there Red Crow is taking his pit stop,
4.1 seconds.
done and dusted. Obviously a long way behind at the back of the pack, but deciding to take his stop early, whether that's down to damage.
Keep an eye on that.
Still looking at that front tyre, both front tyres very much starting to lose tyre pressure as we sort of head towards 8 PM. Time starting to pass somewhat more rapidly, or obviously track temperature starting to cool. Unfortunately, obviously I can't see track temperature real time. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of temperature we currently have. I don't think there's any adjustment for the hood in the
going the
Honda.
right
This
way.
is what you see is what you get. But Kaiser there just lapping 4.3 seconds behind, and then the McLaren driver, the German driver, a long way off. So we've got Bentley, BMW, then another Honda. The Honda really does perform well here. I've been driven in the BMW, the Ferrari, the Audi, just after I'd set the Honda up, just seeing what sort of performance the other cars were getting. and I certainly seem to find much easier in the Honda to be in the lower sort of 124s,
Well done, mate. Purple lap.
and definitely hitting the 123s. Very surprised during this session. Obviously still running with 65 litres of fuel. I can only put that down to track temperature, that I managed to get into the 123s. I think it just becomes a point where, as much as there's pressure in the tyres, the tyre temperatures themselves dictate how much grip's available, really. And especially when you've got a blue tyre, it's
5.2,
very minimal
5.4.
grip. You really want to be looking at 90 degrees tyre temperature to be getting the best from the grip levels. And I can only imagine they're probably in the 70s just now, a long way off ultimate performance. So almost 10 minutes into the session then, and 44 litres of fuel still left in the car. Starting out with 64, so
Still got quite a way before I reach
it's
the
probably
back
going
of
to
the
be
field.
very close, to be honest. Maybe 4 or 5 litres still left in the car, and obviously we're going to add another litre in at the pit stop. I know another driver was mentioning during the hot lap session that we ran last Sunday at Laguna Seca that engine map 4 was the best option for the Honda, but I have tried both engine maps during setting the car up here, and definitely prefer engine map 1. I don't really see any difference between engine map 1 and 4. Maybe not even 2 and 3 either. So feel free to try other engine maps.
Back to 5.4 is still pretty quick.
Hopefully you're enjoying these little commentaries. They do take a bit longer to do these videos. Obviously it's an hour-long session, to be honest. But then re-editing the video with a little bit of commentary afterwards takes a little bit of time. Please do leave a comment in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. It'd be much appreciated to support the channel. I'm sure there's a lot of smaller channels out there that probably have a lot of good information, and it's these bigger channels that get all the viewers, unfortunately. Usually running on PC as well, so
Fastest lap of the race so far.
always good to have you drivers that are on console, watching console based YouTubers, I guess. But a big thank you for all your support on the channel. I love reading all the comments that you guys leave, and try and help as much as you as I can. Looking at the leaderboard then, Ant McVitie managed to make his way into P4. .2. Come on, Jay. Speaking to Jan Hartog, one of the founders at XCL, I think I'd put a comment on one of my other videos about seeing more information during the race. I'm sure he said pressing the tab button on the keyboard during the race will bring up a lot more detail, so I'll certainly be giving that a try as well during my next outing. Definitely looking forward to Sunday's event at Zolder, just doing the fast lap there.
Don't really want to do my stop till I start.
Probably be
catching
running the
people.
Honda again at Zolder. I think I had a good race in that and managed to get into the 128s at Zolder. Maybe a 128.4. Be nice to see a 127 depending on track temperatures and conditions. But really enjoyed setting the car up at Zolder. Again, it's another one of those circuits that's corner after corner, really. You're always turning. It's very hard to take time out to look at what else is happening on that leaderboard just on the left hand corner, trying to work out your strategy on the fly. maybe some subtle changes within the car or your driving technique. Fearful moments like that, just clipping the curb on the inside there. And it's just these little things, lapses in concentration. Just dropped an extra gear then. Oh, a very tricky moment there. Almost looked like it was going to spit the car out the other way. Totally put me out of shape. Heart in the mouth moment. But I never spent any time looking down at the leaderboard to see other drivers. Front right tyres is going across the line, something that I always do really. So this will certainly give me a chance just to look at Kaiser, see what sort of lap time he's doing as he follows me over the line. 125 and then a 204. I guess Sado's just taking his pit stop. Third place doing a 126.6 and McVitie again a 126.1. So lapping in the 120, my last lap as well, 126.7, but I did run wide during that lap, so possibly not particularly the best of pace that lap. Certainly doesn't fill you with confidence. So I'll have a look as we go across the line this time round, because you're so much involved in the first couple of corners. Very hard to look down at what lap times other drivers are setting during this session. Front left tyre also getting very cold, but seeming to well, I guess it's getting lower in the PSI in the tyre, but it's managing to maintain a little bit more heat. 5.3 more demanding with it being a clockwise circuit on the left tyre, but the coldest tyre definitely that front right tyre. So again we're across the line. So a guy in front's done his start. We're still into the 124s then, only just looking at Kaiser then, so he's running about half a second slower at the minute, which I think if I'd had time to look would have been filling me with confidence. Again, P3 driver, nearly 2 seconds adrift. So it's Kaiser really that's the battle that I've got at the minute. Obviously he's still not done his stop either. The only thing I do wonder is if I do my stop, how cold my tyres are going to be. So yeah, quite rightly to be concerned. Obviously coming in at this stage, I guess at least the tyres got a fair amount of heat in it, but I think it's just that not knowing what is going to happen during the rest of the stint as the skies start to darken. I really was considering whether we're going to be looking at rain during this session, but I think as Jan was mentioning, through the rookie season, bringing elements like rain into the mix might not be the best idea for drivers just starting out, and especially if you're not up to speed on how to set the car up, or you've not got a pit strategy set up to be taking on wet tyres during the race. Obviously you've never had time to prepare your tyre pressures, and it really would be in the lap of the gods as to whether you actually came out on a decent set of tyres. So maybe adding elements like rain or mixed conditions sessions would be, it could probably need a little bit more work in allowing drivers to do a little bit more testing, or just letting you know what track temperatures are going to be, conditions. Even knowing when to go on to a wet tyre can be quite daunting for people new to the game. Again, just pushing the car to its limit really, and struggling with grip. Really not a happy situation to be in, I don't think. I know full well, because obviously during the session I was driving it, and the changes in grip were so different lap to lap. I kind of enjoyed the session because it was so different to just running lap after lap in gorgeous conditions. It really was making you guess what grip was available as you went into each corner. But obviously leading a race as well, throwing that lead away, it's quite a lot of pressure sometimes. So you can see just the turning, the response from the car. You can see the tents just dropping away as we come down through the dip. And I did obviously leave a list at the start of the race for the corner names, but I've almost forgot most of them already. Something like Dingle Deep Bend or something like that. Down through Stirling. Just try and along the clearway, I think. Bring that brake balance forward to try and generate more heat in the front brakes. It's surprising looking on other websites the difference in names. Try and get a bit more from the circuit corners. I guess some people know the corners with different names over the years. So 125.3 across the line, 125.4 for Kaiser. So lapping very similar lap times at the moment. 125.6. And Ant in the AMG, I'm sure I've seen him sliding around during the replay, the highlights of the race. Just trying to tame the beast, the Mercedes AMG. So lights on then. We've not had the warning just yet, but I can see the clouds starting to go dark. So starting to catch the pack. Really would be interesting to just pause the game at the minute and see what sort of tyre pressure or tyre temperatures are in that right tyre. So just a few more corners up the road then, and we're going to be approaching back markers. I think I can do one more lap. So it's going to definitely spur me on to make that decision as to coming in the pits, making that pit stop. And trying to lose as little time as possible, going through back markers. Never knowing really how compliant the field's going to be, whether you're going to be involved in a little incident. So just approaching Cortado, still yet to do his pit stop. So obviously we've lost a few drivers since the start of the race, just 11 drivers still in the race, having started with 14. Cortado moving away to the side beautifully, thank you very much. Very much sticking to the blue flags. I'm sure, as most people are aware, especially in Formula 1, you're allowed to pass 3 blue flags before needing to really make a move to let the car behind you past. I don't know, very nice to see some drivers really obeying those blue flags. Just for some last minute drama. 7 more minutes left then. Nearly 2 seconds off the pace that lap. Just wonder whether Kaiser comes across a similar scenario coming past the other back marker. So nearly a second tyres are getting so cold. Maybe caught up with him at a different place, or maybe he's not struggling so much with his tyre pressures. Definitely would be interested in trying the Bentley as well, just see how much speed is in the Bentley. Oh, terrible corner for Jay there, lost nearly a second. 5 more minutes. That first sector. really does look like he's lost confidence in the car. Down to 26 psi on the front left tyre, so really going to be struggling for grip into the 26s. Never mind the temperature of the tyre, even the PSI is getting low now. So all these things are worth testing on the run up to these races if you've got the time. So deciding to stay out and do another lap. Steering feels so light. 22 litres of fuel left in the tank with just 5 minutes left to go really. So it will be interesting to see as he crosses the line just how much fuel is left in the tank. So much time lost. Kaiser looks like he's taking his pit stop there then. You see that tailing a long way back. A couple of other drivers moved. Just no confidence on these tyres now. So just driving around in the car then I've not noticed Kaiser come in. Oh, he did notice. He's pitted. It's down to still 26.9 psi in that front tyre. The rear, well, the left hand side of the car really starting to lose psi. As we're approaching Eyebrow 68. Don't think they're holding me up that much. Definitely getting a little bit too close for comfort. And definitely be losing a little bit of front end downforce. So pulls off very nicely, thank you very much.
Car on the left.
Nice one, man.
Clear on the left.
Gonna stay out and do another lap. I really thought I'd have come in by now.
There's a car leaving the pit lane, watch out.
So I wonder who's leaving the pit lane. Car number 17 maybe? Or maybe it's car number 40. Boa Basso. Just back out on the circuit. Or is it car... No, can't be car number 7 because he's still yet to do his stop. So it must be Basso coming back out. I think I'm going to have to pit. So it'll be interesting to see just how much tyre temperature and pressure we lose as we come out of this pit stop. If he's going to choose to do it on this lap. Literally everyone else around him was pitted. But they're also a lap down as well, so... And another driver just moving over, really is great to see that. Picked a nice spot to overtake, pulled off the racing line as much as he doesn't need to. Very nice of him to pull over. But definitely time to take that stop. Nice and steady into the pit. Making sure the car's slowed down well before the pit line there. Well early. Getting the car nice and straight. 3.2 second stop. Stop. There we go. Nice and straight in the box. Oh, this is going to cost him time here. Come on. 2 or 3 seconds sat still there waiting, and he's still not up on the ramp. Can't believe 5 seconds at least before he's up on the ramp. And this is a terrible pit stop.
The mandatory stop is now clear. Let's go.
Oh,
go.
It's such a bad stop. A terrible stop. So we've got car number 5 coming round, Kaiser then, setting a 1:26.2. Knowing how bad that pit stop was, there must have been something gone wrong during Kaiser's stop. Or on his outlap even. Maybe he's run off during his outlap. But to come out with still a 2-second lead, I think it was probably 5 seconds at the time Kaiser pitted. So 26 psi in that front left tyre. Can't believe I've actually came out in the lead with such a bad stop. Tyres are so cold, they must be nearly 60s. degrees tyre temperature in that front right tyre. Just no grip at all. Thankfully just got 2 more laps to run. This and 1 more lap should be enough. Very much driving with very little grip. So 9 PM, obviously the race starting at, I think it was about 7:30 or 7 PM. Half an hour race with 2 times progression. Certainly something I'll practice in future, just to see how much tyre pressure gets lost, whether it's worth starting with a higher tyre pressure, closing out the brake ducts a little bit more as you come into some of these night races, just to try and combat the loss of temperature in the car tyres. So 1 more lap to go, very ginger on the throttle, very ginger on the turning. This could still all go wrong just here, the toughest part of the circuit really, the back section. Yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, please remember to share it. Certainly help the channel. Oh, could have just dragged the car a little bit, catching that inside tyre. Very tentative. I see K's are just catching slightly on the lap time. Yeah, pulling away again now. I think he's got the checkered flag in sight. A tough race. Very glad to cross the line. And thanks for everyone else that stopped by to take part in this race. Oh man, that was tough. Unfortunately, nowhere really to get some donuts off. I think just glad to get the race finished. It says it all, doesn't it? Rosy cheeks. Race. I always like to save the highlights and have a look through them. Save replay. Really did enjoy just looking through the highlights straight after the race, to be honest. Seeing where everything went wrong in turn 1. Not sure if that saved the replay or not. Look how rosy my cheeks are. But I'll just have a quick look over the timetables. So I managed to get the fastest lap as well. 124. So you can see starting in the 124s and then gradually petering off into the 25s, 26s. Looking over Kayser's lap times. Starts in the 124s, 25s, pretty consistent in his 25s. Up to this pit stop, and then things. Not sure. Looks like he had a bad out lap as well. To the other guy. I forget what. Be interested to have a quick look over how long my in lap was and my out lap, just to see how much time got lost. Not sure what happened to that guy. So he must have taken his stop very early on, or middle of the race there, lap 11. Yeah, really bad. He takes a very long pit stop, so maybe he's repaired a bit of damage during that stop. Did something with his setup. But anyway, really enjoyed the race. Very tough race. Definitely not an easy win by any means. Very hard to stay focused, especially as the tyre temperatures start to go away. Car feeling very different after a number of laps. Just the overall grip levels really did just fall away. So that's a really interesting way that lobby was set up. Definitely, I really wasn't sure whether there were going to be some rain towards the end of that. That would have been a very strange race. But maybe yes, stuff like that to come in Silver League or Gold League. So certainly looking forward to some of these harder races. Just throwing things like that into the works, making the race I guess it just jigs up the race a little bit, makes maybe a boring race into a better race. If anyone thinks leading from the front is boring consistently, it's definitely feel a lot of pressure under those circumstances, not wanting to lose the race, and obviously a terrible pit stop. I do practice the pit stop time and time again as well, and it certainly helps, obviously, in some degrees, knowing that the car was never going to reset and I really needed to reverse the car. But yeah, definitely don't overshoot that marker. But yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, ciao for now.